everyone? I am so excited because I just ordered, my order just came in for acrylic gouache, which I have never tried before. So this is what it looks like. If it'll, let's see. Focus. Focus. I can't get it to focus. Well, acrylic gouache, you may be wondering, what's the difference between acrylic gouache and a regular gouache, which I have here, the Winsor & Newton brand. Well, acrylic gouache means that it cannot be reactivated by water, unlike regular gouache. Regular gouache is a lot more like watercolors in the fact that it can be reactivated by water. So, you know, if you're painting something and you dab some water on it, you can kind of remix and bring that paint back up. Whereas once the acrylic gouache dries, it acts more like acrylic paint, and that it is dried forever, which kind of makes it a nice medium to use layers on. And when you are using acrylic gouache, hopefully, I've never used it before, but I'm about to try it out, but hopefully you can kind of paint on top of things if you, for example, made a mistake or wanted to change a color, etc., which is a lot better, or that versatility is a lot better than this kind of gouache, which is like, okay, if I mess something up, I can try to kind of lift it or maybe kind of go over it. This is gonna work a lot better than regular watercolor, but it is gonna reactivate the color underneath, and so if you move your brush around too much, the top layer is gonna mix with the bottom layer and it's probably just gonna get really muddy. So anyway, I'm really excited to try these new acrylic gouache paints. Let's do it. By the way, do you like how holy my shirt is? It is like my favorite t-shirt, so I can't get rid of it. It's so soft and so comfortable, but Lord, it's got a lot of holes. What's up, everyone? I just finished painting this cute little painting of some pumpkins with my acrylic gouache that I'm using for the very first time in this little sketchbook painting. And I'll probably just go ahead and put this into a pattern design. But I wanted to let you know that I really loved using these acrylic gouache paints. They do get very dry while you're working, so you need to use a lot of water to keep them kind of wet and kind of going on pretty smooth. But I just love the fact that I could go back over these pumpkins, kind of get my shape ready first, and then go back over these pumpkins with some line work, and same thing with the leaves, and I didn't have to worry about the layer underneath lifting as I was painting on top, which will happen with regular gouache paints and of course watercolors. So overall, I'm really happy, and I think I'll be using these quite a bit. Yay. Hey, what is up? I'm all dressed for yoga today. And before I go, that will be later tonight, but I am gonna head to Chick-fil-A and try to do some work on my iPad. And also I'm gonna run a few errands after that and try to just get some grocery shopping done. Yep, that's pretty much what I'm doing. So I've noticed that when you work from home, you don't really always leave the house a lot. Let me know if you work from home and you encounter this problem. So I'm actually leaving the house, going out to lunch today, and I'm taking my iPad so that I can try to get some work done from there. We made it! Yay! Okay, so I'm done with lunch, and I was trying to really just get some emails back to people today, but one email was kind of reliant on me being able to reply to this email chain in a different color as my response, as I'm sure so many of you have probably done in your, work life. But I could not figure out a way to change the color in my email on my iPad. So I feel like there's always little annoyances like that when I try to work outside the home, which is why I really just don't leave the house enough, because yeah, stuff like that just always seems to happen. So, and I didn't want to sit there for 2 hours and draw and come up with a bunch of designs. I just really wanted to get a few things done while I was eating. And, there were a little obstacles like that. I decided to just wait and reply when I'm back at home and I can do it the right way. Okay, so now that I'm back, I'm going to show you how I'm painting with a regular gouache. These are my Winsor & Newton paints, and as you can see, they operate a lot like watercolor. I'm just doing this first layer super thin and watery just to kind of get my bearings down. I'm carefully going around the edges of my sketch because, as I mentioned earlier, it can be a little bit complicated to try to layer things on when you're using regular gouache. That's because this gouache is reactivated by water just like watercolor. Now it is going to be a little bit more opaque, so as we get thicker paints on, we can do a little bit of layering, as I'll show you in just a few minutes. But in general, I'm going to, I wouldn't want to paint this whole background purple and then try to paint my green leaves on top. The leaves would just be muddy and they wouldn't be the right color that I wanted, and it's not really possible to totally cover that up. The nice thing about using these regular gouache paints is that it does have that beautiful watercolor look to it. There's so much texture within just these plain shapes just from the nature of the water kind of mixing with the paint on your paper. When I was working with the acrylic gouache paints, it was almost like working in vector where the shapes just became extremely flat. Which is cool. It just depends on, the type of look that you are going for. Now here I am going ahead and adding some detail into these leaves, and as you'll see, it is a lot easier to kind of paint dark over light. So if you're going to add some detail, that is just something to kind of plan for, that the dark colors go a lot easier on lighter colors. Now you'll see I'm adding some white highlights to some of these leaves, but as you'll notice, it is once it's dry, it's kind of hard to see, and I'm going to have to go back over these highlights again. You're going to have to put on really thick white gouache paint in order for it to show up. Like as you can see on that leaf on the right there, you can barely even see where I put some of these white strokes. It just doesn't give that really rich pop of a highlight that I was going for, but I will go back over it again. And one of the cool things that I found is that you can actually kind of use the acrylic gouache and the regular gouache together. So if you are needing something that's a little bit thicker, or I don't know, just a color that you might be missing, you can use these paints together. So that's also a good little tip to keep in mind. So that is pretty much the way the sketch turned out. So now you know the difference between acrylic gouache and regular gouache. Leave me a comment and let me know if you have ever used either one of these mediums. Let me know acrylic gouache or regular gouache. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. So make sure to subscribe and hit that bell as well. And thanks so much, guys. I will see you in the next video.